Are you ready to create an abundant mindset? On today's show, we're going to be sharing 5 tips on how you can do that.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Manifestation Mindset. We are your hosts. I'm Dr. Aaron Garcia.
And I'm Veronica Mendez Garcia, and we go live every Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, and we add new episodes on Thursdays. And if you want to subscribe to the show, go ahead and click the subscribe button. And if you like our episodes, give us a thumbs up. And also remember to click the bell icon so you can get reminders of when we go live.
So on the Manifestation Mindset, we talk about the mindset of manifesting, overcoming emotional challenges, and breaking through our limitations so we can create the life that we truly want of love, peace, and happiness. On today's episode, we're talking about abundance. And how do we create that? And this is something that Veronica and I have been working with for quite some time now. And when we talked about this concept of abundance and what does that mean? It's just understanding that there's so much that we could create in our life, and there's always an abundance of everything that we need. But to understand that is when we want to create abundance, the first step we have to do is we have to develop abundance in our mind.
So, sometimes we hear things out there like, oh, there's a shortage of water. And how can that be when we live on a planet that is surrounded in water? It's surrounded by water.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
And, by now there's already water desalination plants and things like that, you're able to take out the salt from the water. So there should be no shortage when you think about it.
Yeah, when you really think about it. So we come across a lot of people when we work with our clients sometimes when we're talking with friends, colleagues, sometimes family, and a lot of times people say maybe they get this concept that there's not enough. And what happens is when you feel like there's not enough in the world, then that creates that scarcity, and that creates a sense of panic. Sometimes it can create a sense of fear,
Mhm.
and also it can create a sense of, well, why should I even try? Because there's not enough, for everything, for enough to go around for everybody. When it's fascinating because we are just in this abundant world. There really should be no reason for shortages of things like water. There should be no
Mhm.
reason for shortages of food and starvation in our world because we have way too much, way too much. And yet there's always enough to go around for everybody. But we have to understand that concept. And then when we at least get that concept, then we can really start to make a change in our own life. And when we start to do that in our own life, then we can also help and do that for other people as well.
So the first tip that we want to share is the tip of having gratitude. Having gratitude for everything that we have, and just being grateful and appreciate everything that we're surrounded by. Appreciate our friends, our family, the things that have been given to us, just everything. Because when when we tend to focus on what we don't have, now you're putting your energy into what's not even there, and it's you're focusing on the lack of it. So if you focus on what you have, and you really feel that, the gratitude for that, it will increase like your happy emotions, and you'll be in a better vibration.
Yeah. So here's a great example. And that's something we've, again, when you practice this, you'll start to understand how this works, and you have to play with it first. And this concept of coming from, we call that lack mentality. And what does that mean? Is when we feel, again, there's not enough. And one area that this can relate to for a lot of people could be the concept of income and money. And so, well, sometimes we might think, oh, we don't have enough to pay for this. We can't afford that. And it's more that we just have to learn how to accumulate more of it. But it's not like there's none of it there in the world. And so it's interesting because there was a time when, I would always get really caught up in, do we have enough to pay for the bills for this month? This is a few years ago. And coming from that place of, wow, I can't afford that. I can't do these things because I don't have the money. There's just not enough. And the feelings that that creates in your whole entire physiology and being is just this lack. It's like it's a fear mindset. It doesn't really help with your mentality, your confidence level, and it can really start to manifest into your physical body, creating all types of different pains and conditions. And so when we started to practice this abundant mindset and understanding that there's more than enough to go around, we just have to learn how to accumulate it. It's not that there's a shortage. And so as we started to stop focusing on the lack of and focusing more of the abundance, we started to just experience more of it come into our life, especially when we least expected it,
Hmm.
where we didn't really have much to pay for our rent at one point. And then one day when we were in a really good state of mind, a check shows up. We got a phone call that we had a check that was ready to be cashed that was waiting 3 years to even see that, but we forgot about it and things like that. We find money on the ground. Just the other day, we found quite a bit of money just lying around on the ground, and nobody was there to claim it, just in the street. And it was quite a bit of money. But it's like that. Those types of experiences will happen when you realize, wow, I will always be provided for,
Hmm.
and I'm thankful for that. And when I can be in gratitude of what I currently have, and if you can be grateful for what you currently have, then it's like the universe says, okay, you're grateful for what you have. We'll go ahead and give you more. But it's like if you're not happy with what you already have, like why would I give you more? Because you're just gonna be unhappy with that too. And so that's where gratitude really comes into practice.
Also, sometimes people get envious or jealous of other people who have more, and they start to like get these yucky feelings inside of towards that other person, and they probably start judging the other person like, oh well, maybe they were just born into a rich family, or whatever it is, but they start getting negative thoughts in their mind, and now their vibration lowers, and that's not a good state to be in, especially if you're trying to create something and you want to bring more abundance into your life. by being jealous and envious of others and what they have, you're actually doing the opposite of what you say you want, of bringing in abundance. So because you're putting a negative energy, to the other person, and you're just filling your body with that negative energy of envy and jealousy, that you're pushing away abundance by doing that.
Yeah, and no matter where you're at, just be happy with that because in
Hmm.
this law of relativity in the world, there's always going to be if we're comparing ourselves to what other people have or what they're doing and how they're living their life. Well, there's people that are always going to have more than us. There's also going to be people that
Hmm.
have less than us, and some people that are going to be equal. It doesn't matter where we are; it just is because of the more that we start to compare us to other people, then you start to create this sense of wow, I'm not as good as they are, or I have
Hmm.
more than or maybe I feel guilty because I have more than this other person does.
Yeah, that's
And
another thing, the
yeah,
guilt. Yeah.
is guilt, and realize that we all have equal share to whatever it is that we want to create in our life, and that's not just income and money. It's an abundance of love and relationships. It's an abundance of great health and great quality food to help keep our body nourished and keep our mind right. But we have to first start all of that. It's a concept that starts in your mind, and
Yeah.
that's where we begin.
Yeah, so focus on being happy with who you are and with what you have.
Hang on just for a second. Before we go to our next point, I just want
Hmm.
to say hello to a few people. Val is here and she says,
Hi,
there
Val.
is no lack in the world.
Hmm.
And then she also says, I am blessed and grateful beyond measure.
Awesome.
And we should all be in
Yeah.
that state because we're just so blessed and grateful for everything that
Who have an abundance mindset. Because if you're constantly surrounding yourself with people who are in a lack mindset, now they could either, depending on you, but they could bring you down and maybe start getting you to think that way as well. But it's surrounding yourself with the right people who have that abundance mindset and who are, the go-getters and are always thinking forward, like moving forward with things instead of looking back at what could have been or what should have been.
Mhm.
So that's a good tip to, it's your environment. Who are you surrounding yourself with?
Yeah, because it's our environment that really shapes us. And if you've ever been there or know people that are in that lack mentality or realize that there's not enough or they're concerned about, this is a perfect example of today what's going on in this world. Many people are there. We can't work. There's no jobs. We have no money coming in, and so there's going to be a concern. There's a lot of
Mhm.
fear going on, and like, where does that conditioning start? It starts depending on which environment you grew up in. Because if you grew up in an environment where family and parents are always telling you, "Oh, we can't afford that because we don't have enough money. We can't pay for that." It's like I grew up in that kind of environment. It's not that we didn't
Mhm.
have it. It's just that was the conversations and the lingo. And what I started to find was I would start to say all those things as I got older, and I had to catch myself because I realized as I was conditioned to that's how we say things, that's how we believe things to be. And when I started developing this abundant mindset, I realized, wow, there really isn't a lack. There is no shortage. I can create that. I just have to learn how to do that. It's not
Mhm.
that there's not enough. It's just, I just haven't figured out how to accumulate it or how to develop that. But it all can be learned, which is the
Yeah.
beauty part of it all.
Yeah, and it's instead of saying, "Oh, we can't buy that because we don't have money," a thing that you can tell yourself or your kids or depending on who you're talking to is, how can we get this? How can we buy this? And let's okay, it costs this much, then let's save up some money so we can get it. Because you shouldn't limit yourself by circumstances and by thinking forward, thinking ahead, like, oh, all we need to do is save up this much and then we can get it. So it's not depriving yourself from anything. There's always ways to get it. And also, you might win it. Somebody might give it to you. You just don't know how it's going to come, but the universe will provide.
We do this all the time. It's fascinating. In fact, our daughter wanted to go. This is before COVID hit. Is just been asking. I want to go to Disneyland with you guys, and we're here in Southern California, so Disneyland's maybe about an hour and a half away from us, and we don't go often because Disneyland's got a pretty price tag, but we can't go all the time. And she's, I really want to go to Disneyland with you guys, and so we said, rather than telling her, well, we can't afford that, we can't do that, we just said, we'll put it out there. If you put it out there, we'll figure out a way to do that.
Mhm.
And one day, Veronica and I were going to the grocery store, and on at the checkout stand, they had this little sign with these little vouchers that said, "Win a trip to Disneyland."
Yeah.
Enter the sweepstakes.
So I filled it out, and I think at that time Violet was in the car. I'm like, Violet, put it out to the universe that we got this, we won. And she was doing her thing, doing her magic, um, and then it was probably a couple months later,
Yeah, we did that
um,
in I think November. I think we set that up. November, or October of
October.
last year.
Yeah, and then I get an email saying you won the sweepstakes. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, we won. But I didn't tell her until I had the tickets in hand. And so I waited until the tickets got mailed in and everything, and then finally, we surprised her and we're like, we won the sweepstakes. And
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh my gosh."
Not only that, it was well, there's three of us, but it was for four
For four
tickets, so we got
tickets.
four free tickets to go to
Mhm.
Disneyland. And all we did was just we believed that, hey, this is an opportunity. And the biggest part of that was, hey, let's put it in, because what's there to lose? There's really nothing to lose, only everything to gain
Mhm.
by just filling it out. And how many people just bypass filling out a little form or a little sweepstakes survey?
Mhm.
And she put it in. We won the tickets. She was able to
Yeah.
take. Our daughter was able to take a friend with her,
Mhm.
and we were gonna wait because we were figuring, okay, well, it was all good for 2020, all year
For
long for
the whole
2020.
2020.
Everything all want to be good to go during Christmas time
We're
because
like, when do you want to go? She's like, I want to go now.
so we set it up and we made the time. We went in February and we had a
Mhm.
great time. The weather was perfect. It wasn't that busy,
Yeah.
and we got to go and everything we wanted to do. And no more than maybe like 3 weeks later, COVID happened and everything shut down, and Disneyland hasn't
Mhm.
been open since.
Yeah.
So we were grateful to be able to get to go, but again, there's so many different ways things can happen for you. No
Mhm.
matter, you think like, oh, I can't afford that. It's not so much you can't afford it. You decide that you want to have it. Once
Mhm.
you make a decision that you want to have it and put it out there, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen,
Mhm.
but I'm going to make it happen. And however it's going to show up for you, maybe you have to, pay for it with out of your own pocket. But again, you can win things. People donate stuff to you. There's an abundant way of things to happen, and not just focusing on one way to do it.
Yeah, just put it out there. Be open to receiving it in any way that it comes. So the good thing about winning that sweepstakes was, and how we won was we were all in a good mood. My daughter was in a good mood.
Mhm.
All of us were in a good mood. We put it out there.
We put the ticket thing on a vision board in the kitchen
Mhm.
where we can see it.
Yeah. So it was amazing to be able to win that.
And and many other things that have
Yeah, yeah.
happened
There's been
just
so
like
many
that, where just
stories.
we won things, and or things just tend to happen where you get invited to places because we put it out there.
Mhm. So, the number three tip that we want to share is set your goals. So write them down, put that energy into that piece of paper that you're writing down your goals, and put it somewhere where you're looking at it every single day. Because by looking at it, you're focusing your energy to it. And what we like to do is visualize, and Aaron will tell you a little bit more of the power of visualizing.
And
Just great.
visualizing is probably one of the biggest things that you can do when it comes to manifesting and creating things in your life, because you have this inner power that's within you, and we have this creative ability. We are creators as human beings. Our whole being is to create and to expand and to grow. And so when you're thinking about what you want, it's like you really have to visualize exactly the way you want things to be in your life. You want to look and feel a certain way. Well, you can imagine, you can visualize that. Again, and stop looking at where you're at right now, because that only can discourage you if you're not satisfied where you are right now. It's okay to improve.
Mhm.
But you look, okay, how do I want to change? What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Where do I want to go? And you put that into your mind, because there's one thing to have it on paper, but the reason why people they'll say, write your goals on paper, because you're taking your that energy from a thought and you're putting it on paper and it becomes more tangible. But then it's not just that's the first step. But when you can start to see that in your mind's eye, you can see it every day. You're visualizing, you're imagining. You close your eyes and just see who you want to be, how you're looking, how you're feeling, who you're with, where you're going. Well, how much money you want to earn, what career you want to be doing. And you tie an emotion to that, because that's the powerful part of the imagination process is you see it in your mind's eye, that puts you in harmony with what you want. But when
Mhm.
you tie a great positive feeling of emotion, abundance, we're talking about abundance, gratitude, then you give more energy to that vision. What happens is people do this all the time. They just don't realize it because they're focusing and imagining and thinking of all the things that are going wrong. They're focusing and visualizing all of the lack that's going on in their life, and then they're feeling bad about that,
Yeah,
and they're
so
putting energy into that.
that's why it's important to focus on exactly what you want and have those good feeling emotions versus focusing on the lack. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. Now you're focusing your energy on what you don't want or the lack of it. So you're only going to receive more things that are going to make you feel like you're lacking. So that's why focusing on your goals and the things that you actually want to see in your life that and feel those good emotions like Aaron mentioned, that's going to amplify you getting closer to your goals.
Yeah. And if this is something that's new for you and you're wanting, yes, I want to learn how to create that abundance mindset. It takes a practice. If you don't do it already, anybody that tells you that they're abundant, they feel good, they've conditioned themselves to do that. They've practiced it. Some people have been practicing it since they were kids, maybe because they grew up in the right environment
Hmm.
that encouraged abundant thinking and positive ways of doing things. And so what you have to do, what you'll find is as you start to go through these practices for the first time, you might find that you just by habit and conditioning, you'll go back into your old way of thinking and habits. And then what you do is you just say thank you, catch yourself, be aware when you get into those thought processes, and you'll know it by how you feel, because your feeling will be your guidance. You start to catch yourself, I'm not feeling good. It's like, wow, what am I thinking about? Oh my gosh, I went back into these old negative patterns that are no longer serving me. Get right back onto what is it you want to create. Go back in that visualization process, look at your goal again, and repeat that over and over and until that becomes your new program. That becomes the new conditioning.
So the fourth one is constantly move forward. So seek ways on how you can grow, as a person, grow and study personal development. How can you improve yourself, and also work on your strengths? Because if you're already good at something, how can you make it better? And sometimes people get discouraged with their weaknesses, and that's it kind of brings them down because it's something that they don't really enjoy. So delegate that to someone else, and you grow and move forward by improving the skills that you already have, and so improving your strengths. But also, if there's something that you would like to learn and improve yourself, then go ahead and study that. There's plenty of audios and videos on on YouTube that you can watch,
Mhm.
and there's just so much information out
And that is the abundance concept, right? What we were talking about earlier. There's no shortage of anything. If there's
there.
no shortage of skills that you can learn in your lifetime. In fact, you can't learn every skill in your lifetime. You may have to come back a few times and learn as much as you can, and still you'll be coming back because there's so much information. There's so many things to do. I mean, we study, we read books that are behind us. We haven't gone through all of them, but we've gone through quite a bit of them. But this is just like I, a very small fraction of all the information and books that are out there in the world. I can't
Hmm.
read them all. There's so much information. How many YouTube videos are there just on positivity and abundance? And this is what we encourage our clients and people that come to ask us advice is ingrain yourself in better information to fill your mind. Read better books, read better articles on the internet, watch different types of videos, that are going to help you to grow rather than to discourage you or keep you from growing, because
Hmm.
there's so much distraction and information overload here in our world. We have to be very careful and choose what we want to see. It's just like the television. There's a lot of channels, a
Hmm.
lot of programming on. It's not like the original 13 channels that were on TV back in the 80s. Like now there's an abundance of channels. And why? Because somebody learned how to create that. And we're talking about this concept of abundance. There's a universal law known as the law of supply. And the law of supply says everything that we have uh, that we ever need is available to us in this world. This earth, this world has everything that we've always needed to advance and to do whatever it is that we wanted to do. You know, centuries ago, they had the materials to be able to create an iPhone. They had it. There was electricity, there was metals, there was ways to get glass. The materials are always already here. It just takes the imagination and
Hmm.
the demand for something for someone to get an idea. Wow, I want to be able to do this. What can I do with this material? And they learn to create that, and that's how technology keeps advancing.
So it's like expanding your mind by thinking greater, thinking big, and that's how things get created.
Yeah.
And so the last one is do more of what you love, because when you're doing things that you love to do, it doesn't seem like a job, or it doesn't seem boring, and you're more excited, and your vibration is gets elevated by that. So why not do more of what you love? And right now is a perfect time to do that. And for those people who have lost their jobs, it's the perfect time to start creating something that you love. Maybe you could start a business on something that you've always wanted to do, but were afraid. Now is the time.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when you look at any kind of recession or depression, when there's jobs that are being lost, it, people that, it's blasted on the news, right? Again, maybe some of the programming that you shouldn't be watching, because again, it's all to feed scarcity and fear into your mind. Be informed, but don't let it to consume your emotional state and your way of thinking. Just be aware of what's going on, because you can look at the news and say, wow, where could there be opportunity, whatever's going on? That's an abundant mindset. What can I do with this situation? Some people lost their jobs or their careers because of all this. Well, guess what? There's been a lot of new careers and a lot of new jobs that have been created because of this. Look at the different industries, really grew. New jobs are being developed because of, we have to do things in a different way. It's being creative. That's the biggest thing. And, there's never a lack of work out there. It's your willingness to look out there. What else could I be doing? If you're in that position where you had to stop doing what you're doing already, well, then you look at, well, what else could I do? I'm not stuck doing this one thing. There's a lot of things that I could do. You just have to discover what it is that you love to do, like Veronica just mentioned, and do more of that.
Yeah, look at all the skills that you have, and look at the what demand is out there, and do what you love, and combine everything together, and you can create something. Use your imagination and just create something that's fun.
Yeah, because you can. You get to choose. You get to decide how you want to live your life. And when we start to create the life, first we have to develop that mindset. We have to change the way that we think. We have to change the way that we feel, how we believe about certain things. Things that may not be serving us, that are, hindering you from what's going to help you to grow. And as you move into that phase, are you going to hit some challenges and some setbacks? Absolutely, because that's part of the growth process. No one ever said it was going to be easy, but it'll be worth it. And as you start moving forward to what you want to do, you're going to again have to learn some new skills. You're going to stumble a little bit. You have to get back up. And then you'll learn, oh, wow, great. I learned how to do something different. And then we move forward. No matter where you are, we all go through this. No matter where you are in your life, there's always going to be a setback or a challenge, but that's there to help you to grow as a human being. And this is where we help you with our work, is to help you when those roadblocks come, when those challenges are facing you, when you're moving towards what you want in your life. You don't know how to get out of that or get past that. That's where we come in. That's where we help people to figure out what's blocking, what's stopping you in your life. And let's do some healing. Let's change our way. Maybe it's a way of thinking. Maybe it's a way of doing things, habits. And when we are able to change that, then you get to move forward to that next level.
All right. So that concludes our 5 tips on an abundant mindset. And just to go over them, the first one was gratitude. Be grateful, appreciate everything you have. And then the second one was surround yourself with people who already have an abundance mindset. And then the third one was set your goals, write them down. Fourth one was seek ways to grow further and constantly move forward. So that's learning new things, improving your strengths, your abilities. And then number 5 is do more of what you love, because that's really gonna lift your spirits, elevate your vibration, and you'll start to attract what you really want.
And that's what we do here for you guys. We love doing this. We love doing these lives and these shows and recordings, because it helps us to share this information with the work that we do. And if it helps you in any way, that fills our heart. This has been helpful for you. If you haven't done so already, you guys can subscribe to our channel, and make sure that if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with other people. And then click that little bell icon so you get reminded each time when we have a new video posted, which will be every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. All right.
Alright.
And that's today's show. Thank you guys for being here with us, and
Thank you
we
so
will
much.
see you next time.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.